Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast. Hey, man, we got a really special one tonight. We have Clint. He has returned. He is from American Patriot Defense LLC. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. He was on at the end of last year. We had that debate, and that was easily one of our most watched podcasts live and after the fact. So thank you again, Clint, for joining us. For anybody who doesn't know, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey,
Please.
thanks for having me. It's good to be back. So Clint Bashan, I'm the co-owner and lead firearms instructor for American Patriot Defense. 16 years of military. I'm retired from the United States Army. Medically retired from the United States Army. Current law enforcement officer in Kentucky. So I'm active there, and through my time in law enforcement and military, I've done the majority of that time has been in firearms and training. I specialize in handguns and small arms, so that's pretty much the lowdown and gist of it. But a lot of that is personal protection and tactics. So yeah.
Solid resume. How long were you? Have you been an officer for?
10 years. Yeah, 10 years. Actually, 10 years this past December. Yeah. So
wow,
total time in law enforcement, 10 years. Yeah. So I've been in a couple different agencies, but 10 years total.
Were you an MP?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I was. Yeah. So that was my primary MOS was MP. Yeah. But I bounced around. I had a couple different jobs, but I went where the rank was. So my military career is a little weird. I was actually I was enlisted, and then I went to school, got my commission, and then I actually resigned my commission after I made captain. I was a captain for a little while, and I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I realized I was going to probably be a staff officer, and I'm not an office kind of guy, and I didn't want to be stuck behind a desk and be the guy making the plan or making the plan. I wanted to be the guy kind of executing plans and mentoring soldiers and educating soldiers and kind of leading that way. So I resigned my commission and went back into the enlisted realm and led that way. So that's what I decided to do.
And so you were an MP while you had your commission? Like you were in that?
No, I had to resign my commission. I had to let my commission go. So I resigned my commission, and then I went back into the enlisted ranks.
But you were in the MP like field the whole time, or is it?
Yes, yeah. So I deployed as an infantry officer in 2012 and 2013, and then when I got back from there, then I got reassigned to an MP company as an MP officer. So the officer world's a little bit different. You can be I was a 31 Alpha, but I can be assigned to a infantry officer slot. So I deployed as an infantry officer, 11 Alpha slot, because I'm qualified to be in that position. So I deployed to that position, came back, then I went back into a 31 Alpha position. Then I made captain shortly after that, and I think 2015 or 2014, I think 2014 or 2015 is when I made captain. Somewhere is either end of 2014 or early 2015 I made captain. And then I resigned about a year later, and then and then I retired as a E7 as a 31 Bravo, which is
did they when you resigned your commission, did you go to like E6, E7, or?
So when I resigned, I actually resigned, and I had to go back. Like I was in the Guard at the time, so I had to go back into a unit that I had no influence in. So at the time, the only unit at the time that I had no influence in was a military police detachment. So the only position they had available was an E5 slot. So I was qualified to take an E6 slot on my officer progression. So I had a couple levels of captain's career course already completed, but I hadn't had the residency portion completed. So I was qualified for E6, but they only had E5 slots available. So it was either stay an officer or take the E5 slot. And I was like, you know what? I'll take the E5 slot. I don't care. It didn't bother me at that time. And I made E6 within, I think, a year. You know, as soon as the slot opened up, I made it. So,
wow. Well, that is very, very humbling. I'm sure, but I mean, yeah, that's a lot of people would not do that. And it's kind of lost, you know, that kind of thing. Like you wanting to be a mentor and be like with, you know, in the ranks and training and leading. It's you know, the military is completely different today. So
yeah.
but yeah, that
Yeah, it
those
is.
are noble qualities, and they're hard to come by in the ranks. So much respect
Dude,
for that.
when I go to the military bases with my job, I'm like, how is that a soldier? It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, I started towards my end of my career. It was really, I miss it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss it. I think about my friends, and I think about my buddies, my teammates all the time. There's not a day that goes by I don't actually miss it, but you know, it was time. You know, it was time for me to leave. You know, medically, it was time for me to leave, but at the same time, it was just in general time for me to leave because it's a different army.
It was getting weird.
How I needed to speak to guys and gals is not how they wanted me to speak to them and stuff. And not that I would speak down to them or stuff, but I mean, sometimes I'm not the most politically correct person, and they would sometimes see that unprofessionally. And you know, like I'll give you an example, like Battle Buddy. And I heard they've rescinded this since, but like Battle Buddy's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of anyways. And I hated using that term when I was a junior enlisted anyways. I hated it. But we were in a group, we had a meeting and we had a briefing, and we had a higher ranking individual come and say that we were no longer allowed to call people battle buddies because it was too aggressive or too it was too aggressive. So we had to change it to warrior companion.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, as the Army forgot what we do, like we we close in and shoot people in the face. It's kind of like that's like the primary goal of this occupation. like we shouldn't be really worried about hurting people's feelings. So
yeah,
trying to make an elite killer, right?
Yeah. When I went to boot camp, I think Battle Buddy was on its way out and Warrior Companion was on its way in, because maybe a couple years later I heard stories about new recruits who had what were they? It was almost like it was a card that they carried with them that had like when they get offended they could play the card or whatever.
Oh, like a stress card.
Stress card, yes.
Yeah, I heard
like
about that. We never, like, of course, that never happened when I was around. That was never a thing. But
and the other thing was like, man,
sir,
like
you're being too mean.
Yeah,
they let you have a cell phone for like an hour, almost like every day.
I never had a cell phone,
week.
man. Never had a cell phone. I had a cell phone when we showed up. I had a God, what was it? It was a what was it? A kick? Some kind of kick phone?
Sidekick?
The
Sidekick was like,
oh, hell yeah, dude.
It had a little kick phone. Man, I showed up to reception and basically dropped that mother trucker in a bag, and I didn't see that thing for mine was OSIT, so I didn't see it for 16, 17 weeks. 18 weeks, however long it was. I think it was 18 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it the last weekend.
So hold on.
Family
now
day.
they
No, I
give
got it
you
on family day. I got it the day before graduation because that's when my parents came in. They let me have it then.
Nice.
So now they let you have a cell phone the whole time?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, they give them. Like, have you seen like? There's videos on like TikTok and YouTube of recruits
Oh yeah,
making
I've seen it.
TikTok videos in the barracks, and then like playing buddy like with their drill sergeants and stuff,
Yeah.
and like it's a different world.
No,
It's so different, man.
no, we couldn't do that. We'd hit the tire pit. If that something like that would happen, we'd be in the tire pit, or we would crab walk the parade field. It would be painful. It would be.
You went to Benning, right?
No, it was Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear about?
Regiment.
Oh, okay. Did you hear about all those crazy name changes they did to all the bases?
Like all the different forts. Yeah,
Fort
I'm not,
Freedom or something.
yeah, I'm not even gonna try to. I'm not even gonna try to waste the brain capacity to try to learn the new forts. It's. If I ever have to go to one, I'm just gonna call it to what it used to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I won't be
we're
surprised.
at that age.
I won't be surprised if the incoming administration doesn't rename them back to what they were.
I
wouldn't
hope
have
so.
Put the old signs back up. They're in storage.
Yeah, right. They held on to them. They knew we were going to go back. They knew
they
we
were too
reverting.
Aggressive.
They were like, "This ain't gonna last too long."
Yeah,
It's going to last for 4 years.
Well, the worst part about it is so some of them they're named after some Confederate generals and whatnot, and so they're wanting to get rid of the past because of whatever, racism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
They want to get rid of the past except for slavery.
Right.
Well, sorry.
If you get rid of the past, that's when the past repeats itself because you'll forget the past.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because you never have that reminder that the past was there. So if you don't have the reminder that the past was there, how do you remember about it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No.
Exactly. Well,
they don't teach about it in schools anymore. They don't teach about it in schools anymore, right?
Mm-mm.
So, you go ask. I've got a friend that's got a 13-year-old, and you go ask her any basic history right now.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. If it didn't happen, basically 2010 and newer, she's lost in the sauce.
Jeez, really?
Yeah. I mean,
do they have history class?
I mean,
that's sad though.
They don't teach U.S. history.
The public school systems are literally failing the youth.
Yeah.
They want to teach them about trans and trans rights and
trans history.
Trans history.
The trans freedom movement.
they give them like one day. They talk about World War II.
Really? Not even World War II?
Yeah, one day. They mention it. They don't go into it. They don't go into like the major reason. They basically like, well, hey, here's the Allied powers, here's the Axis powers. Here's a big conflict.
Isn't that
what's their opinion on Hitler?
I'm about to say, isn't that what Hitler did before he took over? Took the guns, told them, forget all the history and everything, right?
I'm gonna make everything better.
Forget what you heard.
That's why I'm like my kid. He's really young. He's only not 19 months old, but we're not going to send him to a public school. We're going to do probably a Christian school or homeschool eventually. So
yeah.
And you know what? That I just recently heard about when President Trump was making a speech about that, basically empowering parents who want to pull their children out of the public school system and basically make it better for them to homeschool.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great.
I
wanted to mention. Yeah.
Acting class.
I wanted
So
to make
that-
one more mention about before we move subjects about the statues and erasing history. The people who were like making a big deal about the monuments being racist, they vandalized the like a monument of the first Black Marine Corps platoon. Like I think it was like I think it's I forget what unit it was, but yeah, it was I think Massachusetts, and they they vandalized the whole thing. They had no idea about what the
Yeah, they
historic
don't know history.
historicity.
They just
They
they
know
just saw a
historical value of
statue.
it.
They didn't know nothing. It was like, oh, a statue. It's got to be racist.
Mhm.
Dude, listen, at least in their defense, all the statues were black. All right. So they were like, we
Well, they're
couldn't tell.
bronze, right?
Mhm.
We couldn't tell.
Yeah.
No, but so there is
Civil War
programs.
first African American. Yep.
So there is
ahead.
programs that will pay for your homeschooling of your children. So I mean, it's not a lot of money, but they'll give you like for textbooks and stuff like that. And then if your wife or you decide to teach them, they give them like a small salary. I think the one that I saw was like $12,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
Oh,
man.
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I did see this on Instagram, so you might want to Google that.
Yeah.
You one of them Instagram news people.
Might need to fact
Yeah.
check that.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
man, the best thing. Go ahead.
No, I know there's programs out there because when I used to work at Chick-fil-A, like all the kids there that they hired on, they were all basically homeschooled, and the parents would tell us like, yeah, you know, if you want to homeschool your children, there are programs out there that will help with costs and all that stuff.
That's
So.
cool. Yeah, I mean, we still got a few years for it. I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of still new to this dad vibe, but we got two really good Christian academies as well, and there's a lot of people really like them. So
Nice.
we're kind of looking at that, but we're not ruling out homeschool either. So
Yeah, that I sent my oldest because my oldest is autistic, so you have to get into a special program in the public school. Never again.
Oh yeah,
Dude. If you send your kid to public school, they're screwed anyway. But never mind if they have special needs or what are they called? IPAs? No, that's the beer. That's the beer, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's the beer. But you know, if they have anything like that, dude, it's done. Your kid is done.
Yeah.
Don't trust the school system. They don't even let like actual professionals come in to view the class because they don't want any eyes on them. They don't want to see how much they're not doing for children.
They got professional trains in there.
Yeah, I know. They leave them in there, but yeah, man, it was horrible. Like, and I told my wife, I'm like, I don't care what we have to do. We can't send him back. So hopefully next year, we could get him into this Christian school. We actually sign up in like a week, so hopefully he could get in, and
Nice.
and he could have a professional 1-to-1 the entire school day to help him with all the stuff. So
That'd be good. That's awesome.
yeah, man.
That's cool.
But yeah, don't trust public schools, everybody. Whoever listens to this, do not trust them anywhere.
I see it with the law enforcement side of it. So I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm tired of dealing with punk kids.
Yeah.
I see it.
Punks. Straight up punks.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's kind of a punk when you're younger, and then hopefully you grow out of it. You know what I mean? Your dad, maybe your dad beat your ass until the point that you got set straight.
Yeah. Well, I don't deal with Christian Academy kids. I do deal with public school kids. So
maybe that's a trend.
There's a trend there.
What's the youngest one you had a problem with?
The youngest?
Yeah.
Youngest one I've ever had to like I wouldn't say a problem with, but I had to we got a call on,
Yeah,
and had to get basically where the parents couldn't deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 8 or 9.
Damn. Did you ask them what they beating their ass?
Well, the parents didn't believe in spanking. They didn't believe in spanking, and they just couldn't control them.
I wonder
so
why.
Called the police. What do you want me to do? I can't do it for you.
Right?
I can't beat them for you.
I mean, unless you want me to. No, I saw this one video, the same thing. The cops showed up at the house because they couldn't control the kid, right? And I'm sorry, the dad had finally had enough and spanked this kid. He was like 13 years old, and he called the cops on him. And the cops show up, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, he spanked me." He's like, "Well, he has the right to. What did you do?" And the kid was like, "What?" It's like, yeah, your parents have the right to discipline you. If you're being a little douchebag.
I've had that conversation with kids too.
Yeah, dude. Because kids think so. When I was younger, right? I'm from Albania. They didn't have child abuse laws in Albania. Okay,
I bet not.
You could beat the shit out of your kids. Nobody cared.
With a stick.
Y'all walked in line.
So we moved to the States, and I'm hearing through the grapevines. I'm starting to learn English and shit, and I'm hearing these kids talking about in America you can't beat your kids. So I got some balls all of a sudden. I did something, and my mom my mom slapped me or something like that, and I threatened to call the cops on her, and she was like, "Oh my God." So she tells my dad, right? And my dad's like, "Come here. What'd you do to your mother?" I was like, I told her, I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I told her I was going to call the cops on her because she hit me. He was like, "Okay, go to the phone." I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Go to the phone and call the cops because I'm going to whoop your ass until they get here and then take me to jail." So I picked up the phone. I'm like scared as hell, and I hit 9, and my dad just started whooping my ass.
That was a hard lesson learned.
I was like, "Well, it still work. It doesn't work here."
I've got a war story. When I was in Afghanistan in 2012. We were doing a foot patrol in a village, and I got swarmed by a bunch of kids because they always candy, ink pen. If it was not physically strapped to you, there's a good possibility it was not going to remain on you. So, yeah, you learn to keep your magazine pouches closed. Like it was not, you didn't there was no fast mags. Like you wanted that stuff velcroed down.
Mm-hmm.
But like I had a pouch that I always kept my. This is back in actual digital camera days. Okay, all right, guys, not cell phone days, but I had an actual digital camera. But next to that pouch, I had a hand grenade. And
oh my goodness.
They didn't pull the pin today.
Oh God!
So this little kid comes up, and all I see is a hand coming up near this hand grenade. So I grab this little kid's hand and I squeeze with all my might. I don't know if I broke it or not, but next thing I know it, Grandpa with this 10-foot, 6-foot, 8-foot, I don't know, big ass stick is just beating the hell out of this kid.
Oh
just
my God!
cussing him out in Pashto, just whap out, whap out, whap out. I'm like, God dang.
We need this in America.
All the other kids didn't give a shit. They were still trying to take our shit. But he was hitting that stuff with just, he singled out that single kid just like, bam. I mean, he laser, boom. God dang. Whew. That's how you know that. I was like, man, this place is wild.
Yeah, dude. Other countries is fucking they're crazy. Yeah, dude. I remember in Albania, we were walking from my grandma's house back home, and this dad is just kicking his son down the road, like just kicking the shit out of him, dude. The kid would try to stand up, and he would just kick him in the face. I was like, get. And my dad's like, you see what I could do to you? I was like,
You was getting off easy.
he was like, oh, God.
Right? That's funny.
He was like, you see what could happen? What I do is not that bad. I was like, it's not. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
man.
right.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
Oh, man.
Yo.
I don't know how we ended up on child abuse, but
Yeah.
But it was good. It was worth it.
Asses whooped.
oh, man.
As a
AKA
mom.
spank your kids. All right.
Yeah.
Spank your kids. They need it.
Discipline.
Yeah. Discipline them.
A little bit go a long way, man.
Yeah.
Remember, my grandmother used to come to when I was at elementary school when I, used to do stupid stuff and whip my ass in the bathroom. And I go back to class.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah.
You better not be crying when you get back in there.
You better suck it up.
My mom's country as hell, and she used to say, she said, boy, she goes, I'll beat you for pissing on yourself, and I'll beat you till you. I'll beat the piss out of you, then I'll beat you for pissing on yourself.
It's a lose-lose.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
Good old
shit.
times, man.
Yep. Now every kid is soft, and they need a little card in the army.
Ain't no such thing as a safe
man.
place.
Can you imagine if we get invaded and those are the people that are fucking soldiers, dude? What are they going to? Someone's going to try to shoot them. Hey, I have this card. You're stressing me out.
People nowadays,
you're gonna be stressed out.
Yeah,
you're gonna get drafted.
No, there's some TikTok star. He's of the alphabet people, and he was like, "Yeah, if I get drafted, I'm just not going. They can't make me go." And everyone in the comments is like, "Yes, they can. You signed up for that. You have to sign up for that." He's like, "Nah, I won't go." He's like, "All these people are telling me that I have to go. Like, I don't have to go." It's like, yeah, you do.
They will issue a warrant for you.
You might like it in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You will go. You'll show up. Ask them how that worked out in Vietnam.
They're gonna come collect you. Somebody made an excellent point about how much times have changed and how back in the day, these teenagers were lying about their age so they could go fight for their countries. You know?
Yeah.
And now look where we are. Like how crazy it's gone, man.
And we I mean, and just to caveat, there are, and I truly believe there are still people like that now. And I think, and it's more of the silent majority that are probably like that. I think if something major happened, we would have more people stand up to go do something for the country than we would have people try to turn and walk away. I truly do believe that. What we hear though is what we hear is the loud majority. The people, the loudest people making the noise, and that's just what it is. You look at.
You're right.
It's just, and even like my son, like not even my son's generation, well, I guess it still would be my son's generation, but like 10 and younger, maybe like even that generation, they're starting to realize like things don't really add up. Like, so they're already starting to like not understand like why certain things, like I've got like they're like this. That doesn't make any sense. Why do we do things like that? And they're like 10, you know. So I think it's kind of like a circle of people. Like we've got a generation of softies because they were probably raised by some softer people, or a softer society. So
also single mother households.
Yeah, that's the separation of the family, the family unit. I think that has to do with a lot of it too.
It's also the men not stepping up and whooping their kid's ass because their wife told them not to do it. And then now this kid is 15 years old. I tell this to my wife all the time. I'm like, you don't understand. There's going to be a day those kids are going to be able to whoop your ass. Okay. And then I'm going to have to come in. We could avoid that by respecting the house. Okay. Which respect is taught in many different ways. You know what I mean? One of the ways is by punishing them, taking things away. But if that's not working, and depending on what they're doing, an ass whooping is granted. All right.
Right.
I hope I never have to spank my kids, but if I have to, I will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my wife asked me, well, like what? I'm like, I come home and one of them punched you in the face. You don't want me to go in there and teach them that, one, you don't hit your mother. Two, you don't hit women. And this is what happens. You get your ass whooped for doing those two things.
Yeah.
Properly.
Pain is a valuable lesson teacher. And point proven, simunitions in tactical training. Okay, if you turn your foot the wrong way and expose your femoral, your inner leg, on a threshold, and I've got the angle on it, and I light your leg up, the inside of your thigh up, that's going to hurt, and you're going to look down, and that's one that's going to visually show you that you would have been shot in the leg, and you're going to bleed out, and two, you're going to feel that, and that's going to cause a lot of pain. So you've got a visual and a physical reminder of your fuck up. So that should tell you what you should do is turn your foot in. That way your femoral is not exposed of that exposure. That's how we teach that kind of stuff. That's how you build those good reps in training. Because pain is a lesson teacher.
The best teacher.
I think so. If you don't learn it the right way, then let pain teach you. Yeah.
You run your mouth. It's either two things that can happen after you get your ass beat. You learn how to fight, or you stop running your mouth.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Too many kids these days haven't been punched in the face.
Oh yeah,
I noticed that. I mean, I hate to say it, like, not that cops and law enforcement need to be punched in the face, or we strive to get in fights a lot, but a lot of younger law enforcement officers, you can tell they have not been in fights, or have not ever been in a fight, like never been in a fist fight, or have ever been hit in the face or hit in the mouth, or have experienced pain. And not that it's disheartening or anything, but whenever they experience it on the street, they go from thinking they have control to 100 instantly, because they've never experienced it, and now they've got a stimulus that they've never experienced before, and they don't know how to respond to that stimulus.
Good point.
Getting hit in the face sucks.
It does, yeah. But if you've ever done any type of training and you've been hit in the face a few times, that's one reason I'm so ugly. You've been hit in the face a few times. You've learned how to process it, and you can okay, I can survive this a little bit.
Mhm.
Eventually, if you get hit in the face enough, you just go to sleep and don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yes,
You
you
just
great.
wake up. You just wake up. What happened?
did I win? We beat them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when
We'll
Rashawn
just-
Evans knocked out Chocolate Down. That shit was sad though.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it was.
what happened? Like, damn.
Am I still fighting?
After that knockout, Chuck Liddell was never the same again, dude.
Nah.
Yeah, his chin was just done after. I mean, his head was here and his neck was like all the way over here.
Mhm.
When they stopped it where the punch hit, his head went like that. It was like,
And then- Well, was that the Rich Franklin one? He got knocked out in both of them, didn't he?
yeah. He got knocked out a lot after Rashad
Yeah.
Evans.
Once his chin went, he lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it just
Yeah,
the way
100%. There's tons of clips out there where cops go hands on, they instantly get when they have to go hands on, they instantly get uncomfortable, and that's like if you're a cop, you're gonna have to go hands on. Like, there's not one person that I've ever had to take to jail that were like, yes, please take me to jail. Like, no one ever begged me to take them to jail. Like, all right, have I had more compliant people than uncompliant people? 100%.
Mhm.
You know, I've had very few people ever resist, but the ones I've had to resist typically resisted, because they did not want to go to jail. So I had to either use some type of force, whether it be open hand technique or put them on the ground of some sort, some type of takedown, or or use a taser on them or something of some sort. So you've got to be comfortable with and confident with yourself to do that type of position, and understand that there's a good possibility you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get hurt, and that's just part of the job. And that's about it. That's about it. It's dangers of the job.
How effective would you say a taser is?
I hate them.
Yeah.
I think I've deployed mine like 5 times in 10 years.
Mhm.
I've had 2 successful, like I would say call successful.
Mhm.
Like hoodies, if you got a hoodie on,
Mhm.
nah.
Yeah.
No.
He's got to make
T-shirt.
flesh contact, right?
Yeah. T-shirt maybe.
Mhm.
Typically if you've got a baggy T-shirt on, probably not. I'll probably get one probe in. I'm gonna have to do a follow-up. I'm gonna have to close the gap and follow up with you, get you on your skin, put it on your leg or your glute or something.
Yeah.
But I'm not the biggest fan. Like when it works really well, but it's not. I'm not a big fan of it.
How effective would you say pepper spray is?
In causing pain, or
Like
just
getting
putting somebody on the ground.
ground.
Causing
What is
pain is 100% effective. Getting somebody to listen to you, not very. It's a great distraction technique because it gets them to think about something else. Yeah, no, it's. I would rather get tased than pepper sprayed any day of the week, because after that 5 seconds, it's over. Pepper spray is probably some of the worst pain that I've ever been in my life. Like, it is bad. It's bad it's bad for like 15 to 20 minutes, and then it's like the worst pain for 15 to 20 minutes, and then it's just really bad for about 2 hours.
Jeez.
Because time, it just takes time for it to go away. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can put as much milk you want water you want. You just gotta
Suck
wait
it up.
for the heat to go away, and then you gotta shower, and it's gonna reactivate when you shower,
Oh, geez.
and it's gonna get hot again. So it's miserable.
Worse than the gas chamber.
100%. I'll take my mask off in a gas chamber all day. Yeah, CS ain't nothing. That's a good way to clear your sinuses out.
Oh yeah, don't you guys MPs don't you have to be sprayed as a part of your AIT or your OSUT?
Yeah.
Like in order to graduate or something like that?
So I've been sprayed 6 times total. I've been hit 6 times in training. I've been exposed.
Yeah.
I've had 8 total exposures. So 6 times training, then I've had two on-duty exposures.
Did
Because
they
if
ever make you
somebody's
do?
going to spray it, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
just contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever make you do like they'll have like maybe a little obstacle course sort of like
Every
just
time
different
I've-
things you might encounter?
Yeah. Every time I've been sprayed, I had to do an obstacle course.
Okay.
That which
man.
just makes it a hoot.
That's
Who doesn't want to
the-
be completely out of breath and running and
Mhm.
punching and kicking and handcuffing and stuff while your
Yeah.
face is on fire and being
Pretty
yelled
sure
at? It's
they
like,
do
don't rub
that
your
right
eyes.
That's the first thing they do.
Don't rub your eyes.
It's like an involuntary response, right?
Yeah.
You want to rub your. So the last time I got sprayed, it was funny. I remember the last time I got sprayed, I did the obstacle course, and they were like, "Man, it didn't even bother you." I'm like, "Listen, I've done this enough now. I just know I just know it just hurts. It's just trust me, I'm in a lot of pain right now. I just know. I just know.
So there's the end game.
I just know there's nothing I can do. This is my give up phase.
Embrace the suck, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
shit.
just suck.
So earlier you were talking about exposing your inner thigh and how the pain. Can you explain? Let's say like someone's in their home. They hear something in the house, right? A broken window, somebody kicked in the door, something like that.
Yeah.
Explain how to approach that situation.
Yeah. So like home defense, and everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. So it all depends on your home layout, where you're hearing that from. The first thing I'm going to tell people to do is don't go and methodically start clearing your house. Single person CQB or CQT is the absolute most dangerous thing and stupid thing you'll ever do. I'm not saying that there's not a time and place for it if you absolutely have to do it, but it's not a good idea to do it because you have no support. You got to think about it like, law enforcement or military, especially like special operations. They have whenever they're doing CQB and CQT, they've got a bunch of assets available to them when they're doing that kind of operation. If you're doing home defense, you have you are your asset. So you need to preserve that asset at the best at your best ability. So the best way to preserve that asset is to kind of stay in place. So the best way to stay in place is to look at positions of cover in the area that you're at. A typical home structure doesn't provide a whole lot of cover. So like drywall is not cover, that's concealment. Bullets travel through drywall pretty easily. The only thing that is really considered cover inside a house are door frames and long hallways. And the reason we can say that is because we have stacked 2x4s, and inside a hallway or a long wall, we have multiple 2x4s that are in consecutive order. So so if we have those stacked 2x4s, then we can use that as some available cover. And the way I would want to position myself with that is I want to get as much as my body behind inside that threshold. So inside that door frame, and then I don't want to break 90 degrees of that door frame. So I want to keep my legs 90 degrees of that, and I don't want to over penetrate that door frame, because if I over penetrate that, then I'm exposing myself to that angle. Actually, on my YouTube, I've actually got a video about shooting behind cover, and I explain that on that a lot better than I could probably explain it here. So you could probably link that if you want to. But yeah, you just don't want to overexpose that body position, and you want to only expose the bare minimum to get the most accurate shot if you need to. And then that also brings into a topic or a talk about, okay, what should we have in our home to help us? So like in my bedroom, I built my bed frame out of solid wood. So I don't have one of these IKEA bed frames, that is, particle board. I have 2x6s, multi-layered 2x6s. So now I'm not only limited to the door frames. Now I could actually get low in the kneeling or in the prone position, in a low position behind my bed frame, and I have a hardened piece of cover so I have additional pieces that I can move behind essentially inside my bedroom. Now, something we could consider is, okay, well, I've got children in the home, so I've got a child that's in another room. So that's when we can move tactically to that room to protect that child. So we need to not just run aimlessly to that location. We need to think about how we're going to move there. So depending on where that child's room's at, we need to make sure we don't drop security in dead space or open areas. So we need to, it's your home, right? So you have home field advantage. The thought of donning your kit on and throwing your night vision on, I mean, that's cool and all, but I would rather flip a light switch so I can see everything to my advantage. Unless you've had thousands of hours under night vision, you're probably going to put yourself at a disadvantage using night vision. So flip your light switch on. If you decide you don't want to flip your light switch on, use your weapons mounted light. You are in your home, okay? You're in your home, and kick that weapons mounted light on and illuminate your areas of threat, your threat areas, until you get those areas cleared and move across those danger areas into that area that you need to get to your child. We're getting into tactics there. So like going upstairs, like there's really no good way to go upstairs. There's several different ways to do it, but I mean, that's literally like, I could probably talk hours about going upstairs. But yeah, but the only way I would say leave where you're at is to get to another loved one.
Gotcha. Yeah, that when I like how my house is laid out is is bedroom, and then it's just a long hallway. So if anybody would be coming either through the back or through the front, they would have to come up that hallway.
So your main threat area is going to be that hallway.
Yeah.
So like the way I would handle that, and I'm sure your kids are in one of the other bedrooms adjacent to your
Yep.
the master, right? So that's kind of how my house is laid out, and a lot of residentials are laid out like that. So whenever you leave your master, you've got to control that hallway. So you're going to come out, you're going to kind of cut around that hallway, weapons light on, or hit the light switch, illuminate that area. That way you can see. All right. Again, you're in your home. All right. You for defense purposes as well, you want them to know that you're armed and you mean business. Okay. You don't want it to be a secret. Okay. All right. We're not trying to sneak up on them. All right. We want them to know that we're there and armed. All right. But we're going to cut around that wide. And again, when we cut around that wide, when we hit that 90 degree of that hallway, we want to treat that hallway 90, just like we treat the door 90, the threshold of the door. We don't want to overexpose that. And if I need to get a little bit more, all I'm going to do is whatever side I'm on. So if I'm on that left side, if I'm on the right side hallway, so my left side is on the wall essentially. So I've got to come out the left side, but it's a right side hallway. If I want a little bit more as I'm leaning out, if I want a little bit more of the hallway, all I have to do is load my left quad up a little bit by putting some weight in my left quad, by leaning forward a little bit versus leaning out. So if I lean out, I'm going to expose all of this. But if I lean forward, I'm going to keep this angle the same. So I'm only exposing this still. So gun and eye, essentially. So gun and eye, I'm only going to keep that exposure the same, but I'm going to open the angle up a little bit. I'm going to open that angle exposure of what I can see more. If that makes sense. It's a little. If I had a whiteboard, I could show you. But if you watch my YouTube video, I have a really good example of that. I show you basically the difference of it. I show you the difference of leaning out and overexposure versus just loading the quad.
How effective would you say shooting a double barrel in the air outside is?
So I actually don't suggest shotguns as home defense weapons. I got a good video I could share with you guys that Louisville Metro Police Department did as a ballistics test of shotguns. They did AR, shotguns, and pistols, right? They did them as a ballistic data test, right? So shotguns can be very effective at dispatching things. Clint Smith said it the best. I mean, shotgun at the right distance with the right load will physically remove a chunk of somebody and put it on the ground. However, if you miss them, that load is going to go somewhere, right? So like for instance, a double-aught buck will depending on the structure of the house, right? Just your standard double-aught buck will typically go through and through a typical residential home. Yeah. So
Like
and
butter, right?
probably hit the neighbor's dog, and then you're civilly liable for that. All right. If it's a slug, yeah,
that's
Go to your house
then
and
it's
then
going
to
to
your
the
neighbor's house, and then
yeah. So unless you're fair, and then you got the whole recoil issue with that as well. So you got to manage the recoil of the shotgun, which it's a heavier recoiling weapon. So either be proficient with a handgun or AR-15 with a good frange round. When I say a good frange round, like Hornady Tap, or Federal, some kind of Federal makes a good soft point round. A lot of your good hunting ammunition is typically good self-defense ammunition because it's made to disperse its energy on impact. It's not made to travel distance. But they make obviously self-defense ammunition. But a lot of times, good hunting ammunition is decent self-defense ammunition because it's what it's designed to do. It's designed to dissipate energy on impact. So, but most of your frange ammunition, once it impacts, a couple of layers of drywall out of 5.56, it's done. It's the ass is out of it. It's done.
And that's
that ball.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing that people don't realize, that just because like the AR is like the scary assault rifle, right? It's actually better for your home defense than a shotgun.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's way better. Recoil management. You can put multiple rounds on target really accurately. Your round capacity. I mean, it's a really good option for home defense, and the ammo selection is vast. And like I said, with a really good frange round, it's a really safe option too. With that, and that's typically what I suggest to people. Not that a shotgun's not bad, you just need to pick the right load, and it just needs to be. It has to be the right load. The only load that I shoot out of my shotguns, I shoot tactical flight, federal tactical flight.
Yeah,
that's what I use. When you can find, it's hard to find in stock, but when you find it, buy it up, because you can shoot an 8-inch group at 25 yards with a double aught buck. I mean,
what do you think about the Hornady double aught?
It's good, but you still have that. You have that number 8 fly. You have that number 9 flyer still. You still have that. You still have that flyer, but it's not as bad. It's still you can still account for it, but it's still there. It's still there. It's about when I did my 25-yard testing with it, it was about a foot off. So versus compared to I had 8 that were tight, and then I had 1 that was about a foot off. It was still on the target, but it was a flyer still. Yeah, but I mean, if I didn't have my tactical flight, it would be my second. I would still use it if I didn't have my tactical flight.
Yeah,
it's good.
What do you think about less lethal rounds
for self-defense?
Yeah.
What is that?
Like,
what is that? Like pepper balls or something?
Like pepper ball or like what?
Like beanbag rounds, for your
for your average person.
Yeah.
For your average civilian.
Yeah, because some people
I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, especially in a home defense situation. Somebody's already showed intent to come into your home and potentially do you harm. You don't know what their intent is, and you're gonna take a chance by hitting them with a beanbag round that you don't know if it's going to be effective or not.
Yeah,
I've seen people on PCP take a beanbag and eat it for lunch. So, just like I've seen people take a taser and not affect them at all. Less lethal does not mean it's going to work. I've had a guy on mushrooms take 6 taser deployments from a couple different guys and have OC in his face and get a baton broken on him and you would have never thought. And he broke a police cruiser's windshield and dented up a police cruiser's hood with his fist. And it took 6 of us to put him on the ground.
Man, mushrooms to do that to you? That's crazy.
Right? How much shrooms was he on? Holy shit.
Right.
They make you happy.
He thought the car was a dragon.
Oh, okay. So you went into night mode and shit.
Medieval warrior.
So just I just I think having a less than lethal option is good to have for everyday carry, but not for home defense. Like I carry pepper spray on me when I'm not working. I carry palm pepper spray just when I'm out and about, because not every situation is a lethal encounter situation. And I can easily articulate using pepper spray sometimes and not have to even touch my weapon. Just like no different than like my go-to thing, handheld flashlight, pepper spray, pocket knife, fixed blade, and first aid kit, and my firearm. Like I don't leave the house without those 6 things. That's it every day.
Do you carry all that on your belt when you're out and about, or is it just in your car?
So my pocket knife, my flashlight, and my pepper spray are in my left pocket. My tourniquet, and when I say first aid, that's all I carry is my tourniquet. My tourniquet's in my right pocket. My fixed blades on my right hip, and then my firearm is in my appendix. EDC.
Got you. Yeah, in Maryland we can't do that. We can't have a fixed blade and walk around with it.
No. 2 pocket knives then for you.
Just in case.
Redundancy.
So after I was gonna say, after you saying that, on one of the pictures you sent me that was on the trailer, you had a threat assessment. You go a little bit on that, like basically like what would entail you having to use your firearm or the less lethal force that you carry with you.
So a lot of that's going to go into kind of like just that could be threat assessment. It could just be like reading the situation a little bit. But so pre-incident threat assessment. So have you guys ever heard of like Cooper's color codes? All right, so there's a guy named Jeff Cooper, not John Cooper. I was thinking John Boyd. He's the guy that created the OODA loop, but Jeff Cooper. So Jeff Cooper is actually the founder of the modern pistol craft. All right, basically he's the guy that kind of developed how we currently shoot pistols today. He's the developer of Gunsight. You guys ever heard of Gunsight?
Yeah.
All right, so Gunsight, or what formerly known as the American Pistol Institute. So he created, and the Marine Corps still uses this, but he created these color codes. So you have white, yellow, orange, red, and black. So white is basically you have
Germany.
No care in the world. You have no situational awareness at all. You don't know what's going on at all. Yellow is you have situational awareness of what's going on. Orange is you're situationally aware, but you are kind of you're being kind of vigilant. Something is almost kind of caught your attention. Red is something's caught your attention and you are formulating a plan to deal with it. And black is you're in it and you are either frozen or you're completely acting out your plan. Like you're 100%. You're involved. So or you're 100% not involved. So when we talk about the threat, we need to strive to be in yellow, because if we're in white, and that's what most of society runs around today. I mean, literally, you could walk around today. That's why, like, a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't want to print. I don't want to print. I'm afraid to print. I don't like carrying like that because I'm going to print." I'm telling you right now, you could carry a shotgun down your pants, and 95% of people in the public aren't going to even notice it because they're in white. they're sheeps to the slaughter. They're just going about their day, just trying to get their Starbucks and go to their Walmart and just trying to survive the day. That's all that's literally all they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we need to strive to be as concealed carriers, as armed Americans. We need to strive to be at condition yellow. We need to be situationally aware of what's going on around us. Excuse me. Of what's going on around us. So that being said, when we're situationally aware, we can observe things, and that kind of brings me into Colonel John Boyd's strategy of OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. All right, so the OODA loop. So John Boyd developed this back in the 50s. He was a fighter pilot, and they called him, I think it was a 60-second Boyd, or 30-second or 60-second Boyd, or something like that. Basically, he would have his adversaries in the sights in a short amount of time, because he would observe what they were doing. He would orientate himself into an advantageous position. He would decide what he was going to do, and then he would act on it, essentially. So we can combine the color codes and the OODA loop together to formulate a plan, essentially. So by doing that, let's say if, I don't know, it's July 27th, 110 degrees outside with 80% humidity, and I'm walking down the street and I see a guy with the trench coat on. Okay. Well, that seems pretty fucked up. All right.
Yeah.
So I can observe that. All right. So I'm already in yellow because I observed that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now I'm going to orientate myself. So how I orientate myself? So I can walk across the street, get away from this person. I can get behind some cover. All right. All right. Now I can decide, what am I going to do? All right. All right. So that kind of moves me into my orange. All right. My orange threat assessment. All right. So I'm making my decision. All right. It may be call the police. All right. Hey, I have a suspicious person. This dude does not fit the profile for Jesus Hot today. Okay. He does not fit this profile. All right. So, all right. And then, so I've oriented myself. I've observed, I've oriented, I've decided, okay, I'm going to call the police. And then I make that implication. I've acted, I've called the police, and then that process restarts. It's a loop, so it restarts. So I go back to that orientation. Okay, I've called the police. I'm going to continue to observe, orient, decide, and act. Continue to observe, orient, decide, and act. Continue to observe, orient, decide, and act. And as long as I continue that loop, I can stay ahead of my opponent. Because if he does something, then that changes my process of what I'm going to do. So now, okay, I've called the police. I'm waiting for the police to show up. Now he turns around. He sees that I'm observing him. All right. Now I go to red, because now, okay, he's done something that I don't like. He's done something I don't like. All right. And I see a weapon. So now I have to make another plan. All right. So I'm looking for these micro movements. Okay. So I'm using that OODA cycle to start formulating a new plan. So, so that's why you can use that, the Cooper's color codes and the OODA cycle to build plans. Now, talking about a little bit more in like, pre-threat assessments, I use, the trench coat stuff, but some other things we can look at are like hand gestures, movements with the hands, movements with the eyes. Hands tell us a lot of stories, because where the hands go, that's what's going to kill you, is the hands, right? Feet, though, like I look at hands and feet a lot. All right, because The hips and the feet are going to tell you where somebody's going to go. Because you can't walk to the right without positioning your feet or your hips to the right. You can't do it. Try to move to the right without moving your hips or your feet to the right. It's not going to happen. Otherwise, you'd be looking really weird. So I'm always scanning at the hands and the feet. Like I look at the eyes, I'll scan at the eyes occasionally, and a lot of times when people think I'm looking at their eyes, I'm actually probably looking at their forehead. But I'm looking more of micro movements with their hips, in their hands and their feet. Looking at the waistlines, looking for bulges inside the waistline, looking in the bulges inside the pockets, looking for things that are out of the ordinary. Things just kind of just fit out of place. If somebody's out of breath, things of that nature could be a pre-threat indicator. Those are when we talk about pre-threat indicators. Those are things that we could be kind of leaning towards, depending on the type of situation we're in. It all kind of situational dependent.
So let's say, right, brand new person just got their concealed carry, right? It's their first time out in public, and some jackass starts picking a fight with you, right? What gestures of this person would you be paying attention to besides like their hands and stuff like that? That they're going to that's showing you they're going to attack you.
So I'd look for posturing, like where their feet are. Like, are they in a fighting stance? Are their feet narrowed, like side by side, or are they staggered? If they're side by side, if they're staggered, they're more likely they're more willing to fight. If they're side by side, they're talking. Not meaning they may not swing, they just may not know how to fight. They could just be a redneck, But if they're staggered, that means they could be posturing. If they're leaning forward a little bit more, that could be more a gesture of the fight. Clenching of the fists, that's a big indicator of fight. If you start seeing fist clench, that's a good indicator that they're going to fight. If you start seeing fist clenching, that's a good indicator that you need to de-ass the area if you don't need to be there.
Will looking around be one too? Because how people usually, try to look around before they.
Sometimes, but what I've noticed when people are wanting to make a swing, they're typically like they're typically locked on though. They're typically they're not looking around. They're locked onto that person typically. Not saying that they won't be looking around, looking to see if anybody's looking around. But when I see somebody taking a swing on somebody, they're typically, especially if they're running their mouth too. Yeah, if they're running the mouth, they're locked onto them. But as that concealed carrier, that person needs to again using that OODA cycle, observing. Okay, I'm in a situation that could be going south here pretty quick. All right, what do I need to do to put myself in an advantageous position? Okay, all right. If he's already approaching me, I need to create distance. Okay. All right. So I need to create distance. Backpedaling is a good idea, but you can only backpedal so much. And if you start backpedaling quickly, you're going to end up on the ground. So disengage at a safe but quick pace. There's a certain type of step, but it's not a direct back pedal. It's kind of like a toe hill step kind of way I teach, is a kind of a toe hill step. But it's not like a shuffle step, but it's a toe hill step. Keeping your hands kind of up like this. All right. And depending on what they're wanting to do, if they've got a less lethal, if they're posturing already and their fists are clenched, and they can easily articulate that already. And of course, I'm not a lawyer. This is completely on them. And if they feel like they're in danger, that may be a time to use something that we would use, maybe a less lethal or something like that, depending on the situation. A good douse of the devil's piss may persuade somebody to back up a little bit. Loud verbal commands: get out of my face, back up, get back, and then call 911 saying, hey, this person was in my face, he was about to hit me, and
sprayed the shit out of him.
Yeah.
When you say back up, do you think it'd be better to back up at an angle or go straight back?
I would back up at an angle. It's harder for someone to track somebody at multiple locations. If you go straight back, it's easy for them to advance on you straight. If you go in an angle, it's harder for them because they have to change positions as well in an angle. But environment also dictates that as well. How many times are you in a complete open field where you can completely back up an angle?
Right.
Yeah. Typically in a training environment, we can do that because we pick our training environments where we can do that really easily. Typically. You're in the middle of Walmart. You're in the middle of a Walmart. Eventually you're going to hit an aisle, or you're going to hit a register, or you're going to hit a counter, or you're going to hit something, and then you're going to be forced to go an opposite direction. And then don't forget you have lateral steps as well. You can go lateral. You can shuffle step lateral. So, but you want to keep a good base on your feet as well, though. You don't want to. You never want to keep your feet together. That's a complete different that's a footwork thing too. I teach a lot of footwork in my classes. That's one of the things I teach. Part of my foundation stuff is footwork.
Yeah, a lot. You remember, you ever go through? They had this basic martial arts stuff, and they always harp on. They make you sit in the horse stance for hours, and you train that stance, and it's ingrained, so that way you it's a solid stance. It's not narrow, like you were saying, with your feet together,
Right.
And so. So I just had one question. What was the video that you were trying to, or that you wanted to show us?
It should be shooting title behind cover, or it should be a shooting behind cover video. It's probably. It may be a short. I don't know if it.
Oh, okay.
It might be a short. I think I posted it in.
Yeah,
October.
I got it. You're standing in front of the barrels.
Yeah, I've got one one's a joke and one's real. So we'll find out which one you found.
The good one or the bad one?
Well, the joke one's still funny.
Yeah.
Depends. We're going to talk about shooting behind cover and angles of exposure a little bit. The key to this is going to be not getting too close to that barrier. If I'm crowded too close to this, I lose my vision around the sides. Whatever side I'm going to be coming out of, that's the side foot I want forward. I want to be parallel of that threshold. So I've got a training gun. This is fake. Last name fake. Right? Fake. I'll load that front quad a little bit to minimize my exposure to this unknown area versus stepping out and eating all those angles. That's just a really quick demonstration, a quick lesson.
Nice. Correct.
Oh, okay.
I hope that helps you out with some of your training needs. Clint here with American Patriot Defense. We're going to talk.
That was good. Yeah. Man, that was a good video. It's fake.
So you can see that. So one, I had a complete and that was an exaggeration of overexposure. So that one overexposure, I had half my body exposed, and anybody could stitch me up, right? Well, that second exposure, I had the exact same hits on target, and what could you see behind it? You saw my arm and the gun, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly all you should see.
A muzzle flash, right?
Yeah. Oh,
off the camera.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
and,
didn't mean to change the subject back
no,
to.
no, no.
No, it's good.
It-
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to
So
see that
I'm hoping
video.
actually this year I'm going to be doing some more stuff like that. So
Yeah, one of the things when
Yeah,
I
man.
went to go get my concealed carry,
That's about as much as he peaked out. Like that's it.
yeah,
Superior, man. Superior cover right there. That's good. Sorry, go ahead.
so during the concealed carry class, one of the things that when you said code white base, when you were going through the colors, that's when it rung in my head code white, right? And the instructor was like, your job from now on is to never be in code white ever, especially if you're carrying. He's like, put your phone away. You know what I mean? Your main mission right now is to be as vigilant as possible. So if you do get in a situation, to protect your family or to protect people around you, if you want, you're locked in and you could assess that situation as fast as possible. Another thing he said is if you're walking down a sidewalk, to walk as far away from like the wall, because if you come at a 90-degree angle, and Clint, you could tell me if this is true or not, but if someone's behind that 90-degree angle, the further you're away from it, the faster you're going to see them.
yeah, that's correct. So if you're going to have a better angle of exposure the further you are away from the wall. So, man, I knew I should have brought a whiteboard with me. I was like, "Do I need a whiteboard?" Yeah. Oh, well, here I've got a marker, and this is gonna look horrible on my crappy computer camera, but give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna
Take
do
your
some
time, man.
fabulous art for you guys. All right, so everything's opposite on me when I'm looking through this. So you got like essentially a hallway here, right? And here's your dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're walking up here. So if I'm walking on the inside here, I don't see this guy until I'm right up on him. But if I'm walking out here, I see him way sooner. I see him about somewhere out in here. On the flip side, if he's here, he also sees me sooner too. So he has angles on me as well. So understand that as well. Versus here, I don't have angles on him. He doesn't have angles on me. So there's a trade-off too. So just understand that. Just because you have angles on him also means he has angles on you.
Got you.
So it's just that's all tactics are. Tactics are 2 things. It's an angle game and a footwork game. Shooting tactics are tactics. They're 2 separate things that work together.
And you mentioned earlier cutting the pie, right?
Yeah. So cutting the pie, working the threshold. It's called like cutting the pie is like an older term. It's actually called a threshold assessment now. That's what we call them. VTAs, variable threshold assessments.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think
And
about?
you'd only do that on an area that you own. Like there's no other threat areas. So like if you're in a hallway and you don't own the rest of the hallway, you're not going to do it in an area that you don't own. Because there's threats down the other hallway. So you're not going to stand out in the middle of the hallway when there's threats down the hallway.
Where they could just peek out and pick you off.
Correct. You're not going to do something deliberate. You're not going to do something deliberate when you're in a danger area.
But you also have home field advantage, though.
You do, but you also don't know how many people are there, and there's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
Again, one person's CQB is never a good idea. That's why, like, if you could ever get your spouse in on this kind of stuff and get them trained up on it, it's always a good idea, because then you have a combat multiplier, because now you're doing 2-person CQT, CQB. Even if all they're doing is holding the hallway, holding security on the hallway, well, then you own the hallway a little bit. You're holding security on the hallway, and now they've just provided you an additional set of hands to help you out just by doing one task, and you're not having to do everything by yourself.
A battle buddy.
Yeah, battle buddy. All right, what was the new term? Warrior
companion.
Warrior companion.
Warrior companion. Just like you don't say wife or husband anymore, it's partner.
Yeah.
Spouse.
Oh man, dude.
Oh man.
Yo. So how do you feel about muscle memory?
Muscle memory. Muscles don't have memory. The only thing's got memory is your neural pathways inside your brain. That's it. Your brain tells your muscles what to do. You have repetition.
Mm-hmm.
You're building neural pathways in your brain. All right, and your brain is building the memory. Okay, and your muscles are reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so your brain's doing all the work. All right, the brain's the key.
That's why you want to protect all this, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of important.
That's why getting hit in the face sucks.
Muscles don't have memory. Muscle memory.
Now we remembered that from the debate. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
we were thinking of making a shirt. It was going to say muscles don't have memory. And I was also
Yeah.
thinking the other one that you said was like your pinky's being a little bitch.
Yeah. I have those quotes written in my notes too. It was like, it's not called muscle memory, it's called doing it right or something.
Yeah.
So explain. So in case people didn't see the debate and when you were explaining the importance of your pinky, can you go in on that?
Yeah. So I got a trainer here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna post the link to the debate if anybody wants to watch.
Okay. This is a trainer. It's actually it's a grip trainer, but it will serve the purpose. So it's fake. It's not real. All right.
Nice.
YouTube, don't shut us down. All right.
Yeah,
Don't
YouTube.
get triggered.
All right. So
Triggered. Get it.
So if this was extended out and it was a pew pew and it actually went kaboom. All right. So all a firearm is a fulcrum. Okay. So all it is a fulcrum. So when it goes bang, so boom. All right. Most people think when it goes boom that the opposite end of the explosion is back here. And that's incorrect. So everybody thinks that I've got to counter it by my grip back here, by gripping everything here, and gripping really tight with my strong hand. So that's incorrect. The way we control or mitigate recoil with a firearm or a handgun is down here. This is the opposite end of the fulcrum. So we control, and I can show you actually right here with this. So boom. So now all I'm going to do is just going to put my finger here. Boom. Boom. A little bit of pressure now. Boom. 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 I'm pushing back on it, but now I'm just putting pressure on it. A little bit more pressure. All right. All right. That's all I did. Now, if I did the same thing and put my finger here, am I controlling anything?
No.
No. All right. So I control the recoil down here. All right. Well, if I control it with my strong hand, right? If I control it with this hand, my hand's designed and the way my muscles and my tendons are designed in my hand, right? And I squeeze really tight with this hand, that's going to impede this finger's ability to pull the trigger quickly. So I'm not going to be able to do that efficiently. All right. Because when I pull this, I just did it right now and didn't even think about it. When I pull this finger, these fingers close, right? So I need to have a looser grip with my strong hand and a tight grip with my support hand, and I control the recoil with my support hand pinky. And then I'm going to also take my index finger on top of my middle finger, pinky on top of pinky. I'm going to pull my pinky into my chest. So the way I would have this, I'd be into my chest. So you can see my index finger tighten up, my pinky tighten up. And I'm just basically driving my palm of my support hand into the grip of the gun. And I'm filling up the gap on the grip here. And that's how I build my grip. But that's how I also control the recoil of the gun. Tight, strong hand. Tight support hand. Loose, strong hand. Now, that's the way I do it. I learned that from Scott Jawinski at Modern Samurai. That helped my shooting out a lot. There's other guys that do 100% and 100%. But I found the most success with the pinky. So that's it.
Yeah.
Don't let your pinky be a bitch.
Yeah. Oh man. Don't let your pinky be a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And thumbs.
So,
thumbs play zero purpose in shooting in that grip as well. I can cut your thumbs off. Doesn't matter. If you start shooting them really, really fast, something that Scott told me to do this last time I went to shoot is to kind of take my thumb and put it on the slide a little bit, just to kind of help out a little bit. But it's not really needed. It helped. It kept my splits from. It narrowed my shots up just a tick on my shots. I was shooting 1.4s and 1.5 splits, and it narrowed them up a little bit when I was doing that fast of a rhythm.
So if you wanted to take one precise shot, would you do 100%, 100%?
No, I wouldn't change my grip at all.
Okay.
Grip would stay the same, and I would prep the trigger. So my grip would stay the same. I'd do the same grip. I'd do the same grip. I'd come up. I'd come out of the holster quick.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure my sights are on top target. I'd take my time, prep the trigger, and then break the shot. I would be more focused on my sight and my trigger control than I would be anything else. So like the three things you need for any shooting, whether it's iron sights or dots, you need grip, sights, and trigger. That's it. Grip, sights, and trigger. And inside that you have, inside the grip, sights, and trigger, you've got a couple different trigger control techniques and a couple different sighting solutions you can use. The way I teach, which I stole it from Scott, because it makes sense to me. So you have a trigger prep with a static dot. You have a controlled streak with a controlled slap of the trigger. You have a violent streak with a violent slap, and then you have a gross sight picture with a violent slap of the trigger. And those are used based on distance and difficulty of target. So depending on how far you are from the target and the difficulty of that target. And I got a couple of YouTube videos of that as well. I think I've definitely got one of the sights. I don't have it on. I don't think I have one of the trigger control, but I've got it on the sights for sure.
And what is your website for American Patriot Defense?
It's on my link tree. It's just a one page like a registration website kind of deal. It's nothing fancy. It's on my link tree though. It's the very first one. I don't have the website memorized.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Because I rarely use it, to be honest, other than just for registration stuff. Social media is kind of the go-to, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good. TikTok's about to get banned, so
yeah. Well, up until
maybe,
to be honest, up until like the last 3 or 4 months, TikTok I had zero movement in TikTok, and then the last 3 or 4 months, I've had a little bit of movement, and then of course it's about to get banned. Of course, when I start getting a little bit of movement,
right?
Yeah, I don't know what is it. They don't like guns.
Yeah, well,
they're afraid of them.
They don't like straight men either.
Yeah, I can get away with a lot more on Instagram. And YouTube than I can with TikTok. TikTok bans my stuff constantly.
When I clip you explaining the pinky don't be a bitch, I know within 5 minutes I'm gonna have to check on that video to see if it got shadow banned, and it probably will be. Because.
Now, does it tell you it is been shadow banned, or does it say?
Yeah, you get a warning. It says on there, this video is only for your followers. It's not available for the For You page. So only your followers can see it. And you could appeal it.
I dropped like 300 followers in like 2 days because I did like a stitch. I stitched somebody's stuff because she made a really good content, and I stitched it, and I bumped 300 followers in like 2 days, and the next thing I know, it was like, what did it tell me? I got a notification. It said
video was taken down.
No,
you've been flagged.
My profile is ineligible for recommendations.
Yeah. Is that on TikTok or on
TikTok.
Instagram? Yeah, man. It's hard. So I've had 3 2A Brothers accounts, and on the third one, I'm literally just gave up because I'm putting all my effort into the podcast page. It's really bad. It's really bad. And the thing is, like, they'll take your video down, you appeal it, and they give it back to you, but it still counts as a strike. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you giving it back if it doesn't violate the guidelines, but then you hold it against me that I did not violate the guidelines? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, well, what are you about to say?
No, nothing.
No, we're just bitching about TikTok.
Yeah, basically.
There was a recent episode of JRE, and Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan and started talking about how they're going to roll back all of those restrictions. They are condensing their the fact checks policies and stuff. And they're basically gonna revert back to like free speech, or at least a version of it that has not been since like Obama era. Since prior to the Obama era. So yeah, dude. So who knows what Facebook might look like?
The Wild West again.
Yeah, man. Good times.
Yeah. And so you had a ton of people on there talking about like left-leaning people who are like, oh, well, since they're taking away these fact checkers and restrictions on what you can say, that automatically means they're coming after the LGBT community. They're coming after trans rights. Like that's
What?
they immediately went to that.
They
What?
wasn't doing that to begin with. They've been going.
We don't
past
care about you guys.
Right.
You know,
No, now we could just laugh at you when you're dressed up
We
as a furry
Yeah.
and not get kicked off of Instagram.
We just want our guns and our survival food. Leave us alone.
Mhm.
Yeah, for real.
Like they make everything about
I
them.
want to know what kind of water purification tablets they're using. That's all.
Dude, like they always make things complicated, and like they add so much extra stuff. But the good thing is Meta, since he's Mark Zuckerberg's in control of Meta, and that's a lot. He's got a lot of influence in the
Oh, yeah.
internet. So
Mhm.
A lot of pool.
You know,
yeah, a lot of
I heard about that earlier today, and I have noticed that on our Instagram, our videos are not getting flagged. Like, remember how like a month ago I kept telling you guys like this video's banned, this video's banned, this video's banned. It hasn't happened in like a month,
Oh wow.
and I was wondering, I was like, what the heck happened? And I guess Mark Zuckerberg, or I call him Andy Zach Galifianakis.
dude. He had a realization. He probably
dude.
was like, you know what? He was like, man, I must have like really stepped on the First Amendment when he started like I don't know how the government did it, but apparently he was like coerced into the COVID like restriction or the COVID stuff.
I need to listen to that JRE. I typically like listening. I like. So this is my three main podcasts: JRE, Sean Ryan, Dave Ramsey.
2A Brotherhood.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Who are those?
Fair enough.
We'll get up there one day. No, I know. I love Joe Rogan because, like, especially to see how much he's changed, like, since COVID is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
he has changed his mind, and he's even, like, he's always been, like, open-minded, but now, like, like, his mind is, like, completely open. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's talking about God, like, before he used to shit on Christians, and mainly Christians, because that's the ones you could only shit on. You know what I mean? But now it's like his mind has completely changed, and especially since COVID, like mine, I never trusted the government to begin with, but then COVID happened, and I saw that bullshit. I was like, yeah, no, like I don't trust anything.
I knew not to trust him.
Yeah. I don't trust anything, dude. Like from the way they tell us to eat is bullshit. It's like they say Lucky Charms are more healthy than eggs and ground beef. Like, and people believe it. People go out and get Lucky Charms for their children, and then they wonder why their children are freaking jumping off the walls like they're on crack.
Yeah, well, you see how the internet's ruined so many things. That JRE podcast was posted 11 hours ago, so it's very fresh.
Okay.
And it already has 2.4 million views.
We need to get numbers like that.
The dude has the number one listened to podcast. Like he's like got more views than like all mainstream media combined.
That's hilarious.
One day Joe Rogan is going to actually.
Well, that just shows you where the people rather get their information from. People rather get their information from podcasts and social media than they do the mainstream. I mean, I truly believe mainstream media will be, unless they change something, they'll be done in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, less than 10. I say 10 years or less. I mean, unless they do something different, they'll be done. Or probably when the baby boomers, when my father's age is done. He's a baby boomer, so like that age frame. So 20 years or so.
Yeah.
15, 20 years. So
yeah, I mean X is pretty good to get news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of
I
Elon.
mean, that's what my wife does. She gets Reddit and X. That's where she gets all of her information from. And I'm horrible about staying up. I mean, I'm the kind of person that like I get mad when I stay too informed about stuff. So sometimes I rather just be ignorantly bliss about stuff. I'd be like, "Did you hear about something?" No. Did you hear about what Iran did today? Well, we're still here, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And
so
all of a sudden,
sometimes
the drones are all gone. Like, have you ever noticed?
Yeah.
I haven't heard shit about the drones. Like, they were
They're probably
everywhere.
still there.
Like,
I saw
the
videos
internet
of, like,
moves so fast.
well, I've heard I've seen videos of people allegedly seeing drones fly through like the smoke from the fires in California.
Mhm.
And yeah, just seeing like extraterrestrial vehicles over in Cali. And you know, the conspiracy theory about the same weapon that was used to set Hawaii on fire is the same one setting California on fire, and
What?
they're getting rid of Diddy evidence.
Yeah, well, I heard that it was arsons. I heard today that it was arsons, confirmed arsons, and then there was I guess there was an argument with government stuff about fire trucks and a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's a mess out there. Anyways, it was a mess out there
Yeah.
before the fires.
Yeah.
The fires didn't help anything. So,
Seriously. Well, did you see the satellite video has all the fires, like the main fires, like starting all at the same time?
oh, that's
Like
organized.
yeah.
I mean, that's
You know,
organized. That's.
I'm gonna try to
it's
find the video and
unfortunate.
share with y'all.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
But they were talking about the firefighters, like the chiefs in a lot of California, and they're all
Oh yeah.
DEI hires. They're all
I saw that. Yeah.
all of them, dude. And they're like,
Yeah.
they're sitting there talking about how their 3-year plan was to make the fire department more diverse. Because imagine if somebody came to your house and you can relate to them. I'm like, what? My fucking house is on fire. I don't give a shit who's on the other end. Put the bitch out.
Dude.
the homeowners rare. I can tell you, they typically don't talk to the firefighters while they're working.
Right?
Yeah. They're trying to get out.
Bro.
I mean,
That's
even
funny.
on medical assist, they don't really care.
Bro, the yeah, so like you said, the DEI. I saw a video of Anderson Cooper of CNN. He's like in the streets and he's like in front of all the fires and stuff. And he goes like, "Oh yeah, so the reason why the firefighters weren't able to put these fires out is because the citizens they used up all the water putting the fires out on their lawn and their properties." So he blames all of the people instead of putting the blame on the government, the state government, whatever, you know, for having this legislation, you know, that basically, you know, drain their water supply, you know. Ridiculous.
It's like your state catches fire every single year. And every
Right?
single year, y'all do not have enough water. Maybe you should get enough water at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't limit your water
And then-
supply when you can get it from the northern portion of your state.
Yeah.
And then the insurance companies canceling fire insurance.
Yeah, they
I mean, it's not funny, but it's like,
That's
come
messed
on,
up.
man. It's like,
That's why I hate him, dude.
that is,
man.
That's
what
why
is that?
Luigi, man, put him on a shirt.
Oh yeah, Luigi, the United Healthcare dude.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
From Baltimore.
It's working.
Insurance
Baltimore-
companies are just horrible, man. They're
Baltimore
freaking
changing the
horrible.
world one bullet at a time.
All right, hold on, I gotta reload this page.
Did you find the thing?
Yeah, I found it.
They had to
I had
reload.
to reload. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here, this is the coast right here, and then there's like basically all the fires have started all at one time. That's wild. Seeing it from satellite though,
Right?
crazy. But
I don't
yeah,
know, man. I think the Earth's flat, so.
yeah, you're right. Right.
No, the best tweet ever was the flat earthers tweeting, "There is flat earthers all around the globe." And that was a real tweet sent
Nice.
out by the flat earth people.
All around the globe.
Yep, all
Yeah,
around the
all
globe,
around.
man.
Yeah, dude.
You said around and globe. So
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude. Great
Oh,
state of
man.
California, man. Look at this. look at this video, man. I don't know like the story behind it, like or why it was happening, but it's a group of firefighters, and they had to fill up these purses with water from the fire truck. They had to fill them up with purses.
They didn't have water hoses?
They didn't. Yeah,
Jeez,
isn't that wild, dude?
Yeah, but you see, you could relate to that firefighter that shows up with a purse to help you out. You know what I mean? Because that's important.
Yeah, you can relate to this one. Look at that, man.
yeet.
Like, what kind of where are your priorities at when you can't even supply firefighters with hoses? I mean, there is one sitting there. I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah, it's
there's
right
no
there.
water. They used apparently they had dumped like tons of water back into the ocean or something to like help an endangered fish of some kind.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
heard
the
of that. Some kind of
environmentalists
spotted
wanted to.
trout or something.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Trump said. That's what Trump
And
said
they-
on JRE.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
man.
there you go, man.
They can't use the ocean water because which actually makes sense. They can't use the ocean water because if they dump ocean water, the sodium in the water can, wherever they dump it, can basically poison the land for years. So, I mean, well,
You think a little bit more planning would have happened,
Yeah,
like Dimitri was saying.
just a little bit. Like
Well-
maybe putting out big fires.
Well, this was the plan, Rob. What are you talking about? It's all going according to plan.
the grassy knoll.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. See, you get it. And
Oh,
the
man.
same thing happened in Hawaii. There were videos of there was like a long line of cars who were being blocked, and I don't know I don't know much about that one either, but maybe they were saying the police were like, I don't know what they were doing, cordoning off a certain area, but some people were blocked from leaving. I don't know how it all worked out, but yeah.
Energy
And
weapons,
the same,
man.
and their water, they were also not able to use something in their water system they weren't able to use, and then they're apparently the world's largest alarm system was down the day of the fires. So
Everybody were not suicidal either.
Yeah, we're not suicidal. All right, it's 1 a.m., fellas. Oh, I
Yeah.
think Clint just dropped out.
he's like, all right, well, hey,
All right, Clint, we appreciate you coming on, man. It's been fun talking to you, and it's very educational.
Yep.
Follow Clint on TikTok for the next 5 days before they ban
Yes.
it. Go follow us on Instagram. Also, Clint on Instagram. He has a YouTube channel, and your YouTube channel is American Patriot Defense, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll post the link in the description and in the chat. So
Yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Can anyone find you on Instagram, Clint? Or
Yeah. You should be able to just look up American Patriot Defense or at a.p.dky. So that's my Instagram handle. But yeah, look up that. That's got my class schedules and all that stuff. If you're local to Kentucky or near Kentucky, or if you just want to travel down, if you don't have a place to stay, you're more welcome to stay at my place. So
nice. All right.
We'll drink some bourbon at the end of the day. So
Good
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Also,
Good
go
podcast
follow.
you got going. Yeah.
Also, go follow us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We're on all 4 of them. We're slowly integrating the new episodes with the old ones, just so they could be more stuff for people to listen to. But yeah, go check us out on there. And yeah, I guess
Leave
I'm the guy that.
Leave some comments,
You're the guy.
good or bad. Leave comments. Don't be assholes.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Thanks for taking your time to be with us. All right.
Yes, thank you.
thanks, guys.
Once you get into that, you start getting into a situation, the slippery slope, where all of a sudden you're going to really violate the Second Amendment. I don't want to do anything to violate the Second Amendment. To me, the Second Amendment is very important. I love this country. Thank you. Thank you very much.